There are moments in the life of a church that feel like turning a page, moments when something long hoped for finally arrives. And this is one of those moments. After a long season of waiting, of praying, of wondering what God was doing, you have received good news. A new minister is coming. And with that news comes a mixture of emotions, doesn't it? There is joy, of course, relief, gratitude, maybe even excitement about what lies ahead. But if we're honest, there can also be feelings of uncertainty, some quiet questions. What will this new season look like? How will things change? What will it mean for us? And into moments like this, it's important for us to pause, and it's important for us to listen. Because before we focus too much on the shepherd that is coming, we need to remember the shepherd who never left. In Ezekiel 34, we find God speaking to his people during a difficult time. The leaders of Israel, the shepherds, had failed in their calling. They had not cared for their people. They had not led with compassion or faithfulness, and as a result, the people were scattered. They were vulnerable. They were wounded. It was a season of uncertainty, of disorientation, of longing for something better. And into that moment, God speaks these words: I myself will search for my sheep and look after them. I will rescue them. I will bring them out. I will tend them in a good pasture. I will bind up the injured and strengthen the weak. Do you feel the tenderness in those words? God does not say, I will send someone eventually. God says, I myself will do this. I will search. I will gather. I will heal. I will lead. It's a powerful, powerful reminder that the care of God's people has never depended solely on human leadership. Even when the leaders fail, even when there is a gap, even when a church finds itself in a long season of waiting, God does not step away. In fact, he steps closer. And if you think back, really think back over this past season in your life as a congregation, I imagine you can begin to see traces of that shepherding care. Moments when you were sustained when you weren't sure how you would be. Moments when someone stepped in just at the right time. Moments where God's presence was quiet, but real. Because the truth is, you were never abandoned. The shepherd never left you. Long before any new minister was on the horizon, and even in the waiting, God was already shepherding his church. And then when we turn to our reading from the Gospel of John today, where Jesus takes that image of the shepherd and brings it now into a sharp, personal focus. I am the good shepherd, Jesus says. Not just a shepherd, not just one amongst many, but the good shepherd. And he goes on, just in case we don't understand, to describe exactly what that means. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. In other words, this is not a distant or detached kind of care. This is not the care of someone who shows up when it's convenient and then disappears when things get difficult. Jesus contrasts himself with the hired hand, the one who runs away when push comes to shove. But the shepherd stays. The shepherd knows the sheep. The shepherd gives himself for them. And then he says something even more personal. I know my sheep, and my sheep know me. See, this is not just about leadership. It's about relationship. The voice that has guided you, the presence that has sustained you, the quiet prompting that has kept you going is the voice of Christ, your good shepherd. And that voice does not change with a new minister. The good shepherd is not arriving with Leah. The good shepherd is already here. The good shepherd has always been here. And the good shepherd will continue to lead you. Now, that doesn't make the arrival of a new minister any less significant. In fact, it allows us to see it more clearly for what it is, a gift. Because throughout Scripture, God not only shepherds his people directly, he also raises up leaders to reflect that care in tangible ways. But it is important that we understand that role rightly. A minister is not the shepherd. A minister is a shepherd under the good shepherd. Someone called to help you listen for Christ's voice. Someone called to walk with you, not stand in the place of Christ. Someone called to care, but not to carry what only Jesus can carry. And that perspective matters because it shapes how we receive this new season. See, because if we place our hopes in one person, we will eventually be disappointed, regardless of who that person is. But if we recognize that God is the one who has been faithful all along, and that Leah is one more expression of that faithfulness, then we can receive this moment with gratitude, with openness, and with hope. So yes, we celebrate. We give thanks for what God has provided. We look forward to what will unfold, but we do so grounded in something deeper than any one person. We are grounded in the steady, unchanging care of the Good Shepherd. And that leads us to a gentle invitation as a congregation. A gentle invitation to first remain attentive to the shepherd's voice. It can be tempting in a new season to look to a minister to carry all the spiritual weight, to do all the listening, all the discerning, all of the leading. But Jesus says, "My sheep know my voice." That means that all of us are invited into that relationship. All of us are called to listen, to pray, to remain open to where Christ, the Good Shepherd, is leading. Our second quiet invitation is to welcome this new minister with grace and with patience. Every new relationship takes time. There will be a learning curve, both for her and for you. There will be moments of joy, moments of certainty, but also moments of adjustment. And in all of it, grace will be essential. The same grace that has carried you through the waiting will carry you through what comes next. And our third gentle invitation as a congregation is to remember that this is something you walk together. The image in Scripture is not of a single individual standing alone. It is of a flock, a community, a people moving together under the care of the shepherd, which means that this new season is not something that happens to you. It is something you step into together, led by Christ, supported by one another, guided, yes, by a new minister, but never dependent on them alone. And so as we come to the end of this reflection, let me leave you with a simple picture. A flock in a field. There may have been a season where the path felt unclear, where the direction was uncertain, where the wait felt long. But the flock was never abandoned. The shepherd never stepped away. And now, in his kindness, God brings someone to walk amongst you, to share in that care, to help guide, to help listen, to help lead. And so we give thanks, not just for who is coming, but for the one who has been with you all along, the one who has searched and gathered and healed and led, the one who knows you, the one who calls you by name, the one who promises to never leave. I am the good shepherd, Jesus says. And that is the hope that you carry into this new season.